I'm really excited to talk about this film because I watched it a few days ago and it's quite intense. I feel like I'm still catching my breath. And I was hoping, Johanna, that we could start from the very beginning of the film, which is the opening scene, right? Because as I said, the film is fast-paced, is intense, except from the opening scene, where we have Julia and George on the roller coaster. And it's funny, it made me laugh when they go, woo! And it's loving. You can see that they share this bond. And I was wondering, why did you decide to start the movie from the roller coaster? And was it a symbol of the whole emotional ride we were about to embark?
Yes, of course, it was a symbol. And I also had the intention to show the couple as they are together without a child, that they are a happy people and a very strong couple. And the symbol, I guess, was the feeling for Julia that her whole world turned upside down.
Nice.
So that I think this is what happens during her story, that she's completely in a new state and she has to rebuild herself.
Interesting. And once the roller coaster is over, we dive right into the suspense, right? No sugarcoating. And one of the things that really stuck with me is that Dr. Wilford goes to her concert, to her work. And that was the first moment I was like, maybe too much. And then we go right away to the delivery scene, the birth scene, which is quite traumatic. And I was wondering, why did you decide to talk about motherhood from this thriller perspective?
The reason why I told the story was because I had also a very traumatic birth. And for me, I found myself in a situation I never had experienced before. And I had no words for what I experienced. And I had a very big motivation inside my artist body, that I wanted to tell something. Or I had the feeling the world has no words for what I had experienced. So I tried to bring something out of my heart and out of my body and make it to a movie, because this is my way to show my feelings.
I see. It's quite strong, this feeling, right? Especially when you have experienced something, you know what you're feeling, but you don't have the words to describe it. And then you put it artistically in a film. How did you create this thriller atmosphere cinematically throughout camera, sound, editing? How was that?
I just could follow an emotional guideline, and I didn't think a lot about genre or anything else. So I followed, we tried to, for example, the music part, we tried to put it underneath in a very subtle way, so you can hear something, but you cannot really recognize what you are hearing. You just feel her
Breathing.
and her emotions. You can. We tried to tell her personal terror very subtle. So we use it. it took us a very long time in the sound design, and when we did the music outline, it took us very long work together with the sound designer and the musicians to rebuild her feelings and to make her world very this kind of anxious that you have when you watch the movie.
And one very important aspect of this film is that, as you said it, we experience the world through Julia's eyes, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, as viewers, we know that something's off, right? We know that she's right to be suspicious and she's right to be concerned. So I felt like I was in this gray area between her perspective and someone who's above that knows more. But I have to confess that oftentimes I had this annoying voice in the back of my head questioning her. And I felt so bad by it, especially as a woman. And I wanted to ask you this. Was this intentional? Did you want to put us viewers in this uncomfortable space?
Yeah, when I wrote the screenplay, and I did it together with Arne Kohlweier, with now he's a friend of mine. We didn't know each other, but we recognized that people read the screenplay in different ways. Especially men read it differently than women. And we started to use these different ways of watching Julia, or I don't know the real word in English. What is the word? When you try to make it stronger, or you try to do how can I describe this? So we tried to. Now you can read it in this way, or you can read it in that way. We tried to this gray feel. You call it a gray feeling. It's not white and not it's not black. There is a middle part, and we tried to widen this in a way, so that you are going to be unsecure in which way you can watch the movie, in this way or in that way. For myself, I have a very strong feeling how I see the movie, and I see the character of Julia and her story. But it's very interesting that people see it in such a different way.
Yes, I see it. And the way I see it, this gray area can be embodied by two important characters in the story, which is the husband and her neighbor/friend, right? I wanted to talk a little bit more about these characters, because George, the husband, he begins in this place where he's loving, he's caring, he's full in with her. And as the movie progresses, he becomes distant. So how did you explore this character and his masculinity, and how maybe men drift away from women in this specific time of life, which is postpartum?
I think the hard way for him as a becoming father was to decide he has to protect the child too. So I think he had made a decision on some point, and in this decision he decided to protect the child, and in that moment he is losing his wife,
The wife,
because he turned away, and she is feeling it's kind of a betrayed from his side, because she always had the feeling they're a very strong couple and they go through everything, and he will stand on her side, but in that moment she realizes that she is losing him.
I see. And invalidation was a word that I was constantly thinking of after watching the film. And I couldn't help but remember this movie documentary I saw a few months ago, last year, called Witches, where the director explores the fine line between postpartum mental health and how Western society condemned and saw witches in the Middle Ages and also modern ages. And I made a connection with your film because, and I wanted to ask you this, do you see Julia as part not only of your trajectory, your life, as you said it, but as some larger historical pattern?
I think this is a very strong topic, and I think a very important topic, because I think we as women, we have a very we have a history. We just nowadays we started to realize what it makes with us and with our mothers and grandmothers and what happened in the years before. I read a very interesting German book about a woman who was a what is the word when people say you are a witch? She was on her own, and she has a house and the ground, and people wanted to take the ground and the house away from her, and then they call her a witch.
Yes.
And in the end she died because other people wanted to take over of her property.
Yes.
And there are also parts in Austria where they still put the doll on the wood to burn the doll, like a traditional way of celebrating spring or whatever. And I think that kind of history and what brings it with us, with it, and what it makes with us is always part of our telling our stories. So I think we cannot look away from it. We always have to tell it with our stories. When you have a female character, main character, you always have to have it in your mind.
Yes, I see it. So it's something that it's rooted in our history as Western society and as women, but also your film comes as something like, oh, you should not look away from that. You should talk about this, and you should, put yourself out there and speak your feelings, right? So that's how I see it. I have two quick questions about two specific things of the film. And the first one is the struggle to name the baby, because it's something that follows us throughout the whole film. And I was wondering, was this struggle a consequence of the whole situation, or was it Julia's last act of resistance? Like the moment she named the baby, she would be complacent to the situation and she would have to accept her fate.
Yes, it's both. I think
Both.
it's both. Yes, because if you name something, and I think this is the same thing with the whole topic, if you can name something, then it's real. If you can find a name, or if you cannot find a clear word or sentence for it, then it's something in the air, but you cannot catch it. You know what I mean?
I know, especially because you talked about your feeling and your experience and how you couldn't name it, how you couldn't put it into words. I see. So it's also another gray area of the film.
Yeah.
Like nice. Okay, and the last one is the axolotl. Where did this come from? Why this specific animal?
Actually, I heard a radio. What is it? There was a topic on radio in an Austria radio sender. I don't know. Ö1. It's called Ö1. And they talked about axolotls because we have in Austria a very big medical research where they research about how they can use axolotls for healing and using it for, I think if they find out how axolotls rebuild themselves, they could, I don't know what they would do then. Maybe we would live forever, because I think this is the goal of a lot of people, to live forever. But I think it's also in the medical area, there is a lot of misusing something for something else. And this is, I had the feeling this kind of axolotls is the best
Symbol.
symbol or creator for using it in our movie.
I see. Okay, one last question, I promise. What kind of stories are you willing to tell next? What can we expect for new projects?
I'm doing a research for a very I think it's a very strong topic too, and a very difficult topic, and we are looking for it, how we can tell the story that you want to see it. And not, I had the feeling, now I did a movie, I didn't know that this is such a taboo theme. I was surprised on my own that people, also close friends, they say they couldn't watch the movie because it's too hard for them to watch it. And now we have another theme, and it's also very hard, and we try to find a way to show it to people that they can watch it.
Okay, I'm excited, and I hope I can talk to you again about gray areas and maybe axolotls again.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johanna. This has been lovely. I really enjoyed our conversation, and now I want to watch it again to see it from your perspective.
No, thank you, and come to Vienna.
I will.
So,
all right, thank you so much.
Yeah,
have a lovely day.
You too.
Okay.
And see you in Vienna.
All right.
Good.